I'm Doug Hadfield, and you're watching Newsmakers, the portion of Resource Intelligence TV where we speak with executives from publicly traded companies that are making the news today. My first guest today, we last spoke to in June 2009 on the program, and at that time the company had met its objectives in raising over $30 million to finance the development of its Santa Elena gold-silver mine in the Sonora province of northern Mexico. On October 22nd this year, SilverCrest announced it had commenced construction at the Santa Elena mine, bringing the company within months of its first doré pour at the mine, which is scheduled for sometime between April and June next year. Eric Fier is the Chief Operating Officer for SilverCrest, and he joins us today. Eric, thanks for being here.
Great. Thanks, Doug, for having me again.
So, you're going to be building a mine at Santa Elena?
We're in that process of doing the construction.
I'm curious, before we get into details, you bought this project in 2006, you've drilled it, you've proved up a resource and so on. At what point was it that you realized this is going to be a mine?
Well, after we finished the pre-feasibility study last August, we had a very good feeling from an economic standpoint that this was possible, that this was a real sure thing.
So it's fairly far along in the process then, really?
Yeah, pretty far. But very aggressive. I mean, most companies don't do this this type of work and get this far this quick.
That's right.
So
yeah.
It's taken a lot of organization. Very systematic organization to do this.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the capacity for the project then. What's the size of the mine? What type of mine is it?
Well, it's open pit, heap leach, 2,500 ton per day. Looking at operation of 35 to 45,000 ounces a year, and 600 million ounces of silver per year. 35 to
45,000. So in tonnage terms, that's about, you're pushing close to 1 million tons of ore per year, I guess.
That's correct.
Okay, let's look at your actual tonnage on shareno.net. At home, investors just go to www.shareno.net and type in SilverCrest Mines to get to SilverCrest's profile. And we've got that loaded here. We can scroll down to the Santa Elena project. And right away we can see it's got a cutoff grade of 0.5 grams per ton gold. But importantly, I think the company's focused on the indicated and probable resources, which are close to 9 million tons. And we can see the grades here. Obviously, you're averaging about 2 grams per ton gold across there, about 100 grams per ton silver.
Exactly.
So, and of course, investors can click on the calculate button and determine some values for the project at home for this. How have the prices, the changing prices, changed the value from the base case you had originally to what it's looking at now?
Well, our base case is based on 765 gold and about almost $12 silver. So you can see the great added value now.
Right.
If you look at the numbers from just a cash flow, a potential cash flow standpoint, you're talking almost double.
Almost double,
yeah.
Wow. And what was the original annual cash flow projected to be? Do you know what that
was? We were
was?
looking at anywhere from 20 to 25 million.
Wow. So literally double. You're close to about 50 million a year. So 100% improvement on the actual base case at today's prices. How does that change the payback time for the project?
Well, obviously, it accelerates it.
Yeah. But do you need to, or is it something, like what was the original payback time? Is it a comfortable?
Well, from an economic standpoint, the original payback time was about 1.5 years. So we're under a year now. If you want to accelerate it, there's other obligations with project financing that you will probably extend that further.
Okay, I'm curious about your costs then. What are your mining costs per ounce?
Overall, it's below $375 per ounce gold.
$375 per ounce gold, right?
Gold, yep.
So $375 an ounce. That looks like at $1,000 an ounce gold, $625 profit. At $1,100, it's $725 profit per ounce.
Exactly.
But I think there's a tendency for a lot of investors and companies in particular to really push on the upside. But if we switch it around and we say, okay, dollar, gold, I don't know, some catastrophe happens somewhere and the dollar spikes up as a safe haven, gold has a downside down to $750. Yep. Where does that leave you?
Well, we're at break even. If you include the capital expenditures, below $475.
Break even's below $475, so
Exactly.
we've got a long way to go.
You got a long way, yeah.
Let's talk a bit about the mine building process, because it's really, an incredibly complex process. It involves thousands of man hours. It involves obviously millions, tens of millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, and hundreds of people. Can you give us a sense of what it's like to undertake this kind of a task?
Well, there's nothing like it, to be able to go out and build something and produce something from dirt. Mm-hmm. You're producing, you're building wealth is what you're doing. This is the fourth mine that I've been involved in building, and it's very exciting, to be able to do that. Yes, it is complex, but we have a great team. We've brought in a great group of people to do the mine construction and the management side for Santa Elena.
Right. Well, let's talk about the potential for expansion at Santa Elena then. You've right now got 1.3 million ounces of gold equivalent. What's the potential for upside?
I could conceivably see, us being at 1.5 to 2 million ounces gold equivalent over the next couple of years. There are parallel systems, to Santa Elena itself that look very similar to it. So you could easily find another one of these within our current land package that's about 3,500 hectares. We also have the opportunity of capturing some value that's going to remain in the leach pad, and we can build a mill and recapture anywhere, at today's metal prices, definitely over $100 million worth of inventory that is sitting on the leach pad.
Just sitting on the leach pad?
Just sitting on the leach pad.
So you've got potential parallels, you've got extensions from where you are,
yep.
And you also have another project, the Cruz de Mayo nearby. How does that fit into the picture?
Yeah, currently the Cruz de Mayo has indicated and inferred about 15 million ounces of silver. Mm. There is a high-grade core there that's open-pittable, and it's about 35 kilometers away, so it's within a distance that probably we can have it processed at Santa Elena if we were looking at that.
Eric, I know you're a guy with huge ambitions. I recently saw you reading T. Boone Pickens' The First Billion is the Hardest. I'm curious, this obviously isn't the last stop for you. What's next, and where do you see yourself and the company in 3 to 5 years?
Well, me along with SilverCrest, definitely looking at expansion. I mean, I was talking to my partners today, and with success, we're going to have a pretty good bank account in about 1.5 to 2 years. And with that bank account, we could be a potential target for takeover, and obviously that would be, considered by our shareholders if it was attractive enough. Mm-hmm. Or with that bank account, we can walk around and do mergers and acquisitions and expand SilverCrest.
Eric, your financing efforts in the last year were kind of complicated. There were 3 financings of private placements, Sandstorm and Macquarie. Can you simplify it a bit for us? The
market needs to understand us as management at SilverCrest, and what our purpose was there was to make sure that we didn't over-dilute the shares in the market. On the equity side, mm-hmm. We were trying to protect our investors, our current shareholders, or potential shareholders. So we didn't want to go out and do a full-blown equity and issue 100 million shares or whatever. Right. So we looked at it creatively, and we decided on 3 routes. One was the equity portion. The next part was the Sandstorm Resources, which is a volumetric gold production percent that they'll receive, and that was in the amount of $12 million. And then the Macquarie's, and so that'll be paid over the life of the open pit. On the Macquarie's side, obviously that's a project loan financing, and that's over a 3-year period. But like I said before, we can buy that out. It all at a cost, obviously, right. But we can buy that out. And along with that, we had to also do a gold hedge, which we've already completed. Okay, that was an obligation of that loan to do that.
Eric, a lot of investors are really interested in what percentage of the shares in a company the management actually hold. Obviously, it says a lot about how you feel about the project. Do you believe in it, and so on. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, well, the 3 key people in the company are founders of SilverCrest, which was founded about 6 years ago. And of those 3 people, we retain about 15% interest with us and the board of directors. So we have a vested interest. We are owners in SilverCrest. So any benefit that SilverCrest gets through its shares is a definite benefit to us. So we certainly want to protect that, you know, and we want to do what's best for the shareholders.
Well, thanks a lot for explaining all that. Thanks for being here today. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doug.